on? It's Noble Truth and the Cauldron Boys. We're here bringing you another podcast. Today we are brewing Kadena, the Slinking Sorcerer, with our boy Apakakatu. Did I say it right?
Not even close.
Enlighten us for those who want to know.
For simplicity's sake, we'll just go by Appa. The real way you say it is Apakakuta. It's a little bit of a mouthful. Thought of it, I don't know, eons ago when I first started playing online with various different games. But a little bit about me, just crazy veteran guy who's been playing Magic for a very long time and looking to dip my toes a little bit more into the CEDH world, but doing it my own way.
That's it.
Nice,
the only way, your own way. Yeah, we like that. So we got Kadena on deck. What do you guys think about this?
So I'm a little skeptical. I don't think we can get up in the way higher tiers. I think about it 8's where we're at, and to me that's nowhere near CEDH.
Can it hang?
Could it hang? I think that you're in good colors. I think that we can.
We know that.
It's strong. I think it's the best. I think it's the second best color combination in the game, right underneath Grixis. Grixis just turns out wins, and there's really nothing you can say about it.
See, I think it can do much better because morphs, when you flip them, are much harder to deal with than actually casting spells. Whenever you flip a morph, you have to stifle it in some way. You can't counterspell that, where you can counterspell pretty much anything else.
No, actually, come to find out, it's not. Actually, you can't
Faster
stifle
than
it.
state-based even.
You can't stifle it. Because you can actually morph on top of split second. Did you know that? Which is why things like Kadena, Silencer, and Willbender are OP and broken, because they get around even split second.
Yep.
So, believe it or not, can't be stifled because it's not an ability. It says it's an ability, but it's actually just an action, like playing a land.
For all you Yu-Gi-Oh players that ended up on the wrong side of YouTube, that means it's spell speed 4.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
I don't know what that means.
It's actually really. If you get to that level of playing Morph, I do feel like it's actually pretty crazy. So let's get right into discussions about this. How are we going to win? What's going to be our main win lines? We're in Sultai. Now, I present an option that's Morph-based. There's probably better, but what do you think about Proteus Machine and Eudora?
Proteus Machine is a crazy old artifact morph that can become any creature.
It becomes its type is the creature type of your choice, but its morph is 0. So when you play Eudora and your creature dies, you can return to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It's a forest. So you can flip it back up as a creature for free because its morph is 0. Sack it to a sack outlet, which we have to figure out or whatever. And then it comes into play face down as a forest, which you can then tap for mana, flip face up, and sack again. What do you guys think?
It helps with the line of like Ashnod's or Phyrexian Altered or Generator.
But really, to be honest, Eudora does combo that way with any morph creature. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Like if you're Vesuvan shapeshifter, there's a copy creature when it gets flipped up. You could copy something, then get the effect of whatever when something's copied, or put face up, and then sacked again, and Eudora would make it become yet again another.
So if I'm understanding this right, it combos with any other morph creature in the deck.
Because you'll have enough mana to
pay
the
nuts.
morph. Yeah.
Here's the cool line with Eudora. If you didn't know, sack outlet Eudora plus Ruthless Ripper. You can
Ruthless Ripper. What do you think? Ruthless Ripper?
It's a free flip. All you got to do is reveal a black card, which we're going to have plenty of.
There you go. I added it.
And you can make target player lose 2 life. So
that seems like a fantastic one drop.
So drain the trade. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't even need a sack outlet with that, really. But we do need a sack outlet.
You wouldn't need a sack outlet for that, yeah.
So let's build on. This is going to be to me the engine for this deck.
Yeah, Eudora, Ruthless Ripper, and the Protean Machine would be great as your engine pieces. The extra mana and the dealing of the damage.
That's just a way to win the game right there.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna win.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so we've
pretty
established can we facilitate this? We need some sack outlets.
The Seer Seer is my favorite because you can scry through until you find more morphs.
Extra value is great.
And it's cheap.
Yeah, it is cheap.
I'm also a fan of the altars, just because like you're gonna add some extra mana. Going infinite mana is always great, but going infinite mana with some extra colorless or with an extra black or blue or green, that's fantastic.
I'm sure we do need an altar. Apple,
Ashnods is the best because morphs are colorless.
So you can move through your morphs a little bit easier, but Altar would let you convert it to anything that's not green. So with this cycle, with any morph that's free to flip, Ashnods and Eudora, you get to create 1 green mana already with that loop, and then whatever your next thing is. So Ashnods would add 2 green to that
colorless.
green. You have 2 colorless and a green, which lets you play another morph, lets you keep chaining off.
You kind of do need that ability to get blue too, don't you?
Right, which is why you would want Phyrexian as well, to where you can convert that color.
Or do we want to add Phyrexian Altar?
Phyrexian Altar, yes, because that is instant speed.
How can we make mana off of this? I know this is high cost. I'm just thinking Pitiless Plunderer.
Pitiless Plunderer. We're already going to be sacking it. Our 2 primary ones are our own creatures dying. Pitiless Plunderer gives us treasures for those creatures dying. So Ashnods is 2 colorless with Eudora, 2 colorless, a green, and a treasure. That's awesome.
So you can facilitate that loop outside of Ashnod with any one of these, really.
Yeah. That would give you a green and a treasure at minimum.
As another spot for Ruthless Ripper, what if we don't see the Ruthless Ripper? We can't drain the table. So what about like a Blood Artist or something like that?
An Aristocrat?
Yeah, or
go that far down the line, because you have Kadena to be able to filter through cards. Because each time that face down comes in, you're drawing a card.
You're drawing a card.
Going through the loop, we're also drawing cards. Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. I forgot about that.
Oh, that's gross.
Kadena will be digging, which is why I like the Viscer Seer for the scry, because you scry and draw something hopefully helpful.
Nah, I don't want that one. We put it down there.
What do you think about Grim Haruspex here?
Grim Haruspex just speeds this entire process up, lets you draw
think he's
cards.
worth adding?
It's a cheap flip. It lets you draw a lot of cards. It's also
cheap flip. Free cast. You might get your free cast and flip over for 1, so it is.
I think it is a definite include because potential of drawing 2 cards each time for sure. Going through the loop, digging further and further.
Yeah. Face down cost is free, so it's 3 either way. But you can cast it for free with Kadena, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And flipping up for a single black is one of the cheapest, most efficient morph costs there is.
And you can actually ramp if you want to play a face down creature that you don't care about, and then sack it to an altar. Yeah, that's free. That's actually gas
and a great card that's good for that kind of fodder would be Death Mist Raptor, because that's always coming back whenever you want it.
Death Mist Raptor.
With that card, you can, every time you get something turning face up, like with this loop, you can bring Death Mist Raptor in for extra mana, extra card draw.
And sack it to your sack outlet.
Exactly. It's just an extra piece of itself, and wouldn't need Eudora to do that. So you can get an extra loop out of it to be able to try and go off a turn earlier or get a little bit more resilience.
He's essentially gas as well, because you return him to the battlefield every time you make a flip and sack him.
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's surprising me. It really is, because it's like
it's cards you don't see a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. If you sit down across me with a Kadena deck, I'm not gonna take you like serious. I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. I really don't. I played with Apple before. Apple surprised me. He's done a really good job. Like,
he shows up with this one though.
Yeah, like I may have to like reevaluate myself. You know.
That's the goal. Get you to reevaluate your thoughts on Morph.
That's exactly the goal. Let's try to make this. We're not going to call it C, but we'll say it's competitive Kadena. How's that?
I mean, yeah, I like that.
Competitive Kadena is, at minimum, that's what we're doing.
And that was
At
the goal.
minimum. And it can only be enhanced from here. So this is, you know how you do it. You can't brew a deck on day one, but you can finesse a deck after a couple weeks. Let's move into, we got some good bases for our combos. We got some stuff to start. It's how we're going to make the machine run. We can build on this with our other choices.
This is the efficient combo, but what do we feel about the backup combo of the traditional Pickles lock?
Making everybody skip their untapped steps.
Brine Elemental is the Vesuvan Shapeshifter.
This is currently his primary way of winning, and oh boy, is it frustrating.
I can only imagine.
I'm traumatized because I look at converted mana costs, and I'm like, I hate this so much. But
if we're making a ton of colorless, it's
I know, but even
then it's 2 blue pips,
and then goes face back down and recast it.
Mm-hmm. So every upkeep, this can turn back face down, and then
as long as you got the 7. So there's some stacks to that. And I had these mentioned, but I'm not a fan of the mana cost. But Kadena gets around that. I mean, you're not running Adnos here, so it's not.
Vesuvan is a 2 mana card in this deck because ideally you're getting it down for free with Kadena or off a Scroll of Fate or some other effect, and then the flip up cost is only 2.
So I'm not a super huge fan of like stacks. I do understand that you do need some kind of stacks for when you're kind of muddling through it, or if you need, extra time or this or that. So, I mean, I think it's a great include.
It perpetually slows down your opponents to where it gives you that slight edge, or in this case, a major edge.
It stalls it till you get your thing.
It's absolutely disgusting and gross, and I'm here for it.
All right, so here we are. We've got a little basis for the engine. This is, a good 9 cards on how to facilitate what we're trying to do to win. We need Eudora and a sack outlet, and then pretty much Kadena's off to the races. That's really the basis of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just need Eudora and a sack outlet. Okay, so moving on. Let's get some good color choices that are morph related. Let's talk about some blue ones. What do you think about Ixodron? Are we controlling? Does it cost too much?
I think Ixodron is great in this archetype particularly because it lets you be a pseudo board wipe while also creating a massive threat.
It also flips all your stuff back down.
Right, and the cool thing about that is a lot of the morphs, it lets you re-get counterspells, re-get naturalize effects, re-get all kinds of different things that you can do.
Reset your board and halts your opponents.
Exactly. And this also turns off a lot of the engines that you'll see in other decks that rely on their creatures being in play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the things that, when executed properly, is won me a ton of games in this archetype. It's a archetype board wipe that says, I'm staying ahead. It's like a plague wind.
Yeah, it puts you one step up and then one step back.
See,
Gap.
I like Ixodron because the creatures that are usually going to be out for your opponents are going to be those creatures that are primary for their win conditions. Bowmasters, Esper Sentinels, Opposition Agents, all of those. And they're all important creatures that need to be face up. And you want yours to be face down. So it definitely affects the key creatures of your opponents playing their decks while massively aiding you in yours. Even if it only flips one more of yours, that's because the morph that you had flipped was needed. So getting to redo it again is going to be helpful.
It creates distance.
It's almost like playing a skip card in Uno.
Yeah.
Nah, that's the Pickles lock.
Okay, I get you.
Now,
me.
Couple other interaction spells in blue. I think we need our Kadena Silencer.
Yep, Kadena Silencer.
And Willbender.
Willbender's there.
Now, why are we not running Void Mage Husher? Or Prodigy or Apprentice?
4 mana to flip for the counterspell effect. We can still do that much more efficiently with playing blue counters instead. Now, I do think it's worth playing things like Stratus Dancer and Disruptive Pit Mage, just because 1 mana and 2 mana to flip are on rate comparatively with the other counterspells you'd already be playing. While
I
also,
think personally that if I remember from what I was checking out here, yeah, okay, so that I like the Prodigy because you can just kind of use that any time, and it's a sack outlet at worst.
yeah, okay. The other ones I like are Stratus Dancer and Disruptive Pit Mage. Um, Disruptive Pit Mage is basically Force Spike on a stick, and Stratus Dancer is Negate on a fire.
Moving on, um, let's look into some other utility morph creatures. How about the Anok Survivalist?
Anok Survivalist, it came out with the original Trakir block back in 2014, 2015 era. Naturalize on a body that grows when you morph it. Pretty decent rate. Another redundant effect for that is Nantuko Vigilante.
Yep.
So those
Yeah,
two
they're
let you
naturalized
kind of
on a stick.
these two cards I like particularly because they allow you to get rid of, Rhystic Studies, Mystic Remoras, Smothering Tides.
We know how much we got to get rid of the Ristic.
Stack
Rude.
You get rid of the that are played. It just being able to interact with those effects is part of the draw to be in green anyway, and being able to do it on plan, on rate, is a great place to be for this art.
All right. So another card in green I really like is the honestly cheaper version of the Witness once you do it this way, but Den Protector.
Den Protector's fantastic. I can't tell you how many times I've flipped up a Den Protector to pick back up a Mana Drain or Force of whatever to stop people from interacting with me.
If you get your card back right on you put all your cards on reserve, doesn't it? It's like you can toolbox your graveyard right now.
Exactly.
What's better than you casting one counterspell once?
Well,
casting the same counterspell twice.
Another cool thing is with Den Protector, Eudora, and something like Lotus Petal, you can create an infinite mana loop at sorcery speed that you can increase to instant speed with other effects.
I think I remember that loop. It's kind of like the Emery loop too.
Yeah, or kind of like Displacer Kitten loops, kind of in that same vein.
In a different, just a roundabout way, kind of. The last green card I really was thinking about was Trail of Mystery. How do you feel about it? How many basics? We're not going to have a lot of basics.
I don't think we're going to have enough basics to facilitate the first portion of that. Now, how much do we value the +2/+2 bonus when we flip something face up would be the discussion point.
What is the cost of it?
It's a 2 mana, 1 and a green enchantment. Normally in more casual tables, it's just used to fix your mana and to kind of make sure you're hitting your land drops. But we're going to be drawing so many cards already with Kadena that I don't think that's going to be an issue.
We're not worried about
whether or not we think the when a permanent is turned.
I gotta be honest, I'd run Sylvan Library over this in the heartbeat. So
yeah,
I don't see that one as a card draw. Basically, that's what getting a land out is. But because we're a combat focused deck, flipping some of them in combat, if you're able to repeat the process, getting that extra +2/+2 per flip can accelerate the damage to get the win. And at 2 mana, at least for now, I think it's worth it to leave it in.
Well, so notable thing here too to mention there, Gruesome, is it's a +2/+2 to the thing that flipped. So if we're in the middle of our like Eudora loop or something like that, this isn't doing anything for us.
Yeah, we're giving +2 to flip it back over to
sack it anyway, and
to come back to flip it.
Yeah, maybe not then. I was just thinking if you're attacking, only if you're attacking.
Moving to considering.
Like you have a bunch of morphs out, flip them all over, send everything sideways.
Yeah.
Like I could see something like that, but that'd be like,
having a lot of mana at that point. Can't we find a better way to win?
If we win through aggro, it's kind of like a side effect, I think.
Yeah.
So let's keep it moving. So let's talk about this card and why it's no good. Salt Road Ambusher.
Now the card was meant to be a way to kind of push through in the limited format at the time. It was not meant to be a way to accrue a ton of value in this archetype. It was just, you're playing some morphs in limited, here's a way to make them bigger and be able to punch through. It was kind of like a top end for that.
So for the same reason we just dismissed,
I think so. I think it's
Trail
too
of Mystery.
costly. I think it's too costly for the effect you're getting. And something that would be, if you're wanting to do this, you'd go bigger. Why not just play the new Experiment 12? So this is an interesting card here because even with Kadena, she doesn't say that it has to be Morph. Now, Disguise is in the same vein as Morph. The only thing is,
Cloak, Disguise, and Morph are all.
They're all in the same strange bedfellows.
Yeah,
So
and they all play off of Kadena for us too.
So you can put this down for that 3 for free off of Kadena. Now, the thing I like about this is when this flips face up on its own, you're already looking at an 8/8 Trampler. Now, if you're looking to be down, this would be better than Salt Road, which would only be a 5/5 at this point, for the same CMC.
Solid suggestion on why Experiment 12 is better. What do you guys think?
That's a good one, yeah.
Now, the other cool thing about this one is if you read that line of text, it's not just for itself.
It's every creature.
Yeah, it's every creature that flips.
Now, Den Protector becomes a 3/2 when you flip it up. Well, guess what? Now it's going to be a 6/4.
Yeah, Experiment 12. We just made it. Just made the list. All right. Whisperwood Elemental.
Now, this card has a little bit of a spot in my heart for playing a lot of that format back in Standard, but it might just be too slow for what we're trying to accomplish here. While being able to sacrifice it to kind of get a little bit of board resiliency is okay. It's one morph a turn. It's not really all that fast. It's 5 mana to deploy. I'd rather play Ghidorah and pop off instead of a Whisperwood.
Too slow. All right. Now, here's one that we mentioned earlier. Bane of the Living. What do you think?
Where we gotta discuss, is it worth staying on theme, or is just playing the good old Toxic Deluge better?
Deluge is probably better.
You know, that's kind of where I've been on this card for a little while now.
What do you guys? What do the boys think?
Deluge is better. Your life total is your resource, and mana is where you're going to be struggling more than life.
So I agree with Greg, man. Deluge is just top tier removal.
One other interesting morph I think would be worth talking about is we sometimes see a lot of C-lists playing things like Gilded Drake. Now there is a card that does that similar effect, Chrome Shell Crab. Now, it is a little bit more expensive to flip than Gilded Drake gets to cast, but for the same reasons as Morph being powerful for the mechanic that it is.
I think we need to focus on getting to our wins faster. And I think we're getting pulled off track with a lot of these 4 or 5 drops.
Also, giving somebody else the morph and the ability to flip it if you play an Ixodron would be bad.
That's fair too.
I would play Gilded Drake over this just for the simple fact it's 2, you know?
It is 2 mana.
So, this, even if you cast them, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And I did want to mention the problem with, I'm sure you know this too, Appa. All the black morph destroy creatures are pretty costly.
Way too expensive.
Way too expensive.
I've been fighting with that myself already. You're better off just playing your Assassin's
like Slip and Rollick, yeah.
Rollick, Slip. Like, you don't need to be playing.
This is just for example, like
3 and 5 mana things that do that.
All right, so we understand that why black destroy creature stuff they're just too costly. What do you think about Dream Chisel?
I think it's a good insurance. Like, for example, if we're playing someone slams
cost
down
reduction.
Granith, if someone's playing Granith, we need to be able to still play our game, and even if we're playing it slower, this is one way as like an insurance piece to be able to still do that. Another redundant effect for Dream Chisel, Obscuring Aether, 1 green enchantment.
Obscuring Aether?
Yeah, it's the same thing as Dream Chisel, essentially, with the added upside that it itself can turn into a creature.
If I'm not mistaken, they're part of combos too in the morph lines.
They can be, if you have enough cost reducers out, and then there's a blue enchantment called Primordial Miss. It is 5 mana though, so you can create an infinite loop of playing and recasting your things, which means you can draw your deck with Kadena.
I don't know about the 5 mana one, but those two for sure.
We like Chisel and Aether?
Yeah, those two
like
for sure.
They're pretty good.
What about Cloud Key as well?
Well, that's another cost reduction thing that I was thinking about, because we could use Cloud Key, and then now we can bring in the debate of Ugin or Semblance Anvil.
Ugin is nice because it's also just tangentially a removal while also having the reduction effect.
Yeah, so I mean,
it is
you
a little bit
had the
expensive.
reduction effect, and any either Chisel or Aether, you're
Right.
suddenly casting all your Morphs for
Now
free.
everything's free, and then now if you want to kind of storm off with like Cloudstone Curio or something, you can keep on playing and bouncing Morphs with Cloudstone Curio, and now you have another line to win with like Aetherflux Reservoir.
And also for +1, it gives you an extra. It is almost like just getting you an extra card.
Yes and no. So there's one negative part about that +1 is in the deck, Kadena cares about it being a face-down creature, whereas Ugin here creates a spirit token and exiles the card.
Yeah.
So it doesn't give you that card draw on that +1 like you'd want it to. But being able to kind of do a little bit of everything we want.
Do we think 6 is too much?
6 potentially is too much. That's currently our highest one. But if we're able to go through some of the loops with the sack outlets, we'll have a bunch of extra colorless mana.
Yeah. So let's just keep it off for now.
Or put it in considering, because he does facilitate flow combos if we wanted to.
Yep, good idea. All right, here's one I checked out. Oh yeah, while we were on the topic of Ugin, and the same reason he was probably too much, I was going to say other cost reducers like Cloud Key. I think that's a possible decent one.
2 mana for a creature reduction, yeah.
That might be okay. Just having another way of being able to do that is not.
Well, this is like I was thinking about Semblance Anvil, but that's 3.
Oh,
to make
3.
It cost 1 less.
Sorry.
Yeah, 3.
Well, same reason Semblance Anvil is kind of like too much. Do you think Cloud Key is too much? 3's too much?
I think 3's too much.
It might be too much to do what we're trying to do with it.
Because ideally we're going to use the Dream Chisel and Aether and stuff in benefit to the card we've drawn with Kadena. That's already, because you've already gotten a free one anyway. So
yeah.
All right, here's another one. I had looked at Gift of Decay. That's not it. Gift of Doom. I can't read.
Interesting card. If we're already playing into the sack theme, I think it is fine to have. It also makes an indestructible Death Touch creature.
And it's a sacrifice outlet.
It's a single time sack use, which can get you started a little bit with Eudora, but the nice thing about it is you can protect yourself against non-exile effects. You know, so if they want to Lightning Rod Kadena or Eudora, you can kind of protect them a little bit with this.
So it's a line of protection. That's a free flip.
It's a free card draw with Kadena. It's a free flip, line of protection. Also makes an indestructible Death Touch here. You know, that makes it harder for people to attack into you for little bits of damage.
What do you guys think?
I think, yeah. Are some creatures that are important to attack. Having an indestructible and death touching blocker is going to be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you put the keywords death touch and indestructible, it's almost as scary as trample death touch. You know what I'm saying? Like, man.
Yeah, it
3 down.
It's hard to deal with.
3 mana down, 1 body up.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna leave that in. Okay, we're getting a good little basis going here. we got a long ways to go. I feel like just add the good stuff, but we'll move through now. Okay, Ujin's Mastery.
Now, this one is kind of interesting because it lets you kind of chain off a little harder with Kadena. Whenever you cast a colorless creature, which morphs and cloaks and all that are, you get another one, which means now for every free thing you're playing, you're getting 2 cards to draw.
So yeah, you literally get to cast one for free with Kadena, then manifest the top card of your library.
Yeah. It's another card like Teferi's Ageless Insight that just says draw more cards in this deck.
Plus, if you draw like that 6 attacking with 6 is not a terrible.
Right. So like picture attacking with 3 random morphs, and then now I'm not paying that 6 mana to flip up Brine Elemental.
I like it. I like it.
I like it too.
If you go card in this deck, I personally think it's a solid include. 4 mana is a little bit much, but for being an not necessarily an engine piece, it's a NOS for the engine.
And the fact that it's colorless is going to help the most in most of our lines. That's the best part about it.
Yeah, and if you're on altar at that moment, you cast a creature, manifest another one. It doesn't even matter what the spell is. It's a creature.
If it's a land, that's free mana.
It's free. It's right to the
free real estate.
Now you get a manifest. Right? It's just it turns all of our incidental artifacts into additional manifests.
Okay, Scroll of Fate.
Now, this has won me I don't know how many games.
It's a little silly.
This card is kind
every turn.
Every turn.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
You can just throw something down from your hand as a manifest. Spare lands, now they turn into card draw. You throw down a morph that you didn't get the chance to play at instant speed. You know, now you can flip down it. Anok Survivalist, flip it up for 2 mana and deal with their problem at instant speed.
Any one of those morphs that has less to morph than it does to cost is a suddenly benefit here.
Yeah.
Anything under 3.
So, with Scroll of Fate in mind, do we want to play things like Seedborn Muse to untap on our opponent's turns?
I think so too. I think one portion that makes Kadena interesting is if you play Seedborn Muse plus Leyline or type effects.
So we're gonna move into that stuff in a second, but I think you are right, Gregathy. I do think so, sir. Let me bring up two more things real quick, and then we're gonna move into the utility and access and facilitating. What did I have? Vizier of Remedies. No, that's not what I meant.
That's the one that lets you cast creatures off the top, right?
Yeah, that's Vizier of the Menagerie.
Vizier of the Menagerie.
Menagerie, yeah. I know. I don't know why I wrote Remedies. I didn't even look at it that way, but yes, that's what I meant.
I've never thought about using it in Kadena before. I've just kind of leaned into playing the full theme. But in this context where we're trying to manipulate the top of our deck and find what we're looking for to facilitate that Eudora loop, I think this helps you do that.
Which is exactly why I want to propose Mystic Forge. How good that is.
Mystic Forge is a very cool trick for anyone who doesn't know. Even though these cards are blue and green and black, as a morph or cloak card, they are considered a colorless spell, which means you can cast them off the top with Mystic Forge. And you can do some pretty silly things along this vein.
Along this. Now, Greg, or Mike, tell us why we can't use Citadel.
Man, we're way too heavy on the mana costs.
No, that's not it.
It's actually not it. You cannot morph off of the Citadel.
You can't pay alternate costs with Citadel. Yeah. You can't overload and pay morph costs.
I didn't know that.
You only pay the
no alternate cost.
So Mystic Forge allows us to cast the spell since you can cast the top card. And if you can cast the top card, you can pay its alternate cost. However, Citadel is a replacement effect that says you can pay its mana cost instead via life.
Hard on the mana cost. I got you. I got you. So alternate costs are no way.
It's not just that the straight up mana cost of some of these cards is high. It's the alternate cost. That's what you're wanting to do is not accessible.
Okay.
I still think Aether Flux would be a definitely good ad, just because, I mean, what Apple was saying earlier, if you storm off, you end up with an Aetherflux on the field, and then,
The Eudora
you
Loop
know,
alone could do that. You'll get the mana to
Yeah.
be able to cast them, and with an Aetherflux Eudora Loop, that also is a win right there.
yeah, you take them with the, you get a 50 and you get a 50 and look under your table. All right, you get a 50.
So do
What I was
we like Interflux here?
Yes.
I think I do like Aetherflux because with the ability to play a bunch of free morphs off of either the Eudora Loop or doing something like Cost Reducers plus Cloudstone Curio or even the Primordial Mist, you can turn Aetherflux Mystic Forge into a kind of way to win the game another way that, or even just say we got a bunch of Cost Reducers and we play like 6 different morphs, that's going to be enough to gain enough life to be able to take out a problematic player.
And plus, you're paying them one more for free every turn you can. But we do need to draw cards. That's kind of a big thing too.
On the draw a card aspect, we never added
Beast Whisperer. That's a free
not
cast.
well that one, but
I think the
Secret Plans
is a card that in this archetype, it's a 2-mana enchantment, one green, 1 blue, just sits out there, makes you a little bit tougher. Now you're 2/3s instead of 2/2s, and then whenever you flip something up, you're drawing a card. So in our best case scenario with the Eudora Loop, whenever we flip something face up, that's an extra card draw. So it also helps speed up our engine with that.
We're gonna draw our whole library that way.
Right.
You know what's cool about?
Additionally, this means that we can do the Eudora Loop without Kadena being in play.
that's true. If there's many ways to deal with a commander that's not in the command zone or hand, so having an extra effect to let you go through it is going to be helpful there too.
What I like about the Secret Plans is the 0/1 as well, because, I mean, there's not many attacking decks in C. I mean, what, Timna's one, stuff like that, but a 2/3, but that's pretty good. I mean, you're
Blocks the
not,
Ragavan.
hopefully, yeah,
Blocks right. It takes stuff out of Pullmaster range. It does.
it does.
We were just talking about. All right, Secret Plans is hotness. So, I think we pretty much. Is there anything morph related that you think maybe we should discuss or talk about?
It might be worth talking about. This is kind of a little bit of a pet card, but I think it can also be super sneaky good. Mischievous Quanar. It's a old Onslaught blue rare. Now it's 3 mana to copy a instant or sorcery spell, but being able to just have that in the back pocket, this is kind of like a misdirect on a stick. It's
Copy someone's peer.
You could copy someone's peer.
Copy a lot of things.
Copy somebody's deflecting swat when they
swat your
yeah.
I like that. I actually think that would be a good ad in general. It is like a deflecting swat or any
5 is
regular.
Well, it's not 5. It's 3.
3. All right.
5 is to turn.
It does turn itself back down. So if you ever would need to do that, you could.
It changes target.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of bit of interaction here in these creatures that I like. That like, we got 2 destroy effects, a return. That's 3, 4 for a counter.
Another thing I'm considering is there's a really cool new card also coming out, Print Lifter Ooze, who can really generate a lot of value in this list. Now it is 4 to flip up, but we don't even need to do that because we can just play them as a 2-mana 2/2 with Death Touch. And that ability there, whenever you turn something face up, create a giant trampling ooze for however many creatures you have. And
that's every time you morph something, it makes another creature.
Yes. That just adds more reason to do the Eudora Loop.
To sack, to have like the altars.
It's now that gives you extra bodies to sack, or it lets you set up an infinitely large board to be able to just beat someone down with.
Yeah, I actually think that is a good ad. Even primarily doing the 2-mana 2/2. The disguise, if you get it for free, that would be nice. Or get it for 1 in this case.
Yeah,
but a 2-mana 2/2 who just adds to any of our flips is
No,
very good.
because you got to spend a 4 to flip it over, which
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
get.
saying. I wasn't
Why?
really-
Why? I don't get why it's even got disguise. Like, why bother?
Yeah,
Because it's a 2 cost. Like, what's the point of playing it face down with what, Ward 2? Is that's what
pretending
disguise
you
is?
don't have anything like that.
I don't have a print lifter ooze here. Psych.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I
that's
just
funny
like it
too.
for its straight up face value.
Because
Yeah,
on the
it's good
Eudora
update
loop,
value.
that's-
2 mana 2/2 with Death Touch isn't that bad of a body. And then that extra value on this archetype, just creating a ton of big giant oozes whenever
trampling oozes.
Trampling
yes.
oozes. That's the key part that makes them trample.
Big trampling oozes.
That's a sexy ad.
It's pretty sweet.
All right, anything else?
Another new card that's coming out that might be worth talking about is Panoptic Projector. It's a 4 mana Morphomonicon, basically. It's
Oh,
is
Panoptic projector.
Panoptic Projector, yeah.
Yeah, I seen this spoiler. Yeah.
It's a very cool card. It lets us have another. It is 4 mana, but it's colorless, and then it lets you play a free morph every turn.
So it's Kadena on an artifact.
Kadena on an artifact, and then the secondary text line there is whenever you flip something face up, if a permanent would trigger, it triggers twice. Do we like drawing cards from Secret Plans? How about we draw 2? We like making a Print Lifter Trampling Ooze? How about making 2?
I like that a lot. Returning 2 cards from the grave, perfect.
Destroy 2 artifacts.
Countering
2 spells. Countering 2 spells.
Things like it can get nasty in this deck.
Yeah, I think that's a great one.
Hot fire. What do you think,
Man,
Mike?
could you imagine the stacking of Kadena and that on the same like?
The nice thing though is with this in play, when you flip up that Brine Elemental, even though you're sinking in so much mana to get that effect, being able to get that effect twice for 7 mana now you're looking at basically a double time walk for 7 mana. That's not near as bad. Now, if we're playing Seedborn Muse, and because Kadena says each turn, I think it's worth playing things like Leyline and Videlkin Ori, or even another flash effect creatures like Vivian, Champion of the Wild.
So speaking of that, Vivian of the Wild is a fantastic choice here for the same reason. You guys, how do you feel about this?
Vivian, it's a 3 mana, you get flash for sure. That'll give you at least 1 free morph a turn. It means one you get, if as long as you have the cards, you'll get to play a morph and draw a card during each of your opponent's turns.
Yeah.
Flash is
so you can play
important.
right. So you can play a morph creature every turn with Kadena.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have Seedborn Muse, it's at least 1 card draw, basically.
And then we're playing blue, we're playing...
so now we did Mana Rocks, we should talk Mana Dorks. They need to be in here.
Yeah, I think we played...
You're at 24 creatures. Burbs.
We probably also want Delighted Halfling to make sure we get down.
Delighted.
Do we want Bloom Tender to tap for 3?
Bloom Tender.
Maybe. I was debating on that myself.
I'm not high on the 1 toughness stuff.
Me either. That's why I don't really think we want Llanowar Elves. But I do think it's worth thinking about other ways to just get a lot of mana, since we are going to be a mana.
What about Deathrite Shaman?
Well, there's rituals. All right, so hold on.
Deathrite, but we might be able to consider like Devoted Druid, Machine God's Effigy kind of lines.
That does give, if you have those 2, it's infinite blue and green. And in Devoted Druid by itself is still a good mana dork. And Machine God's Effigy is good on its own because you can copy, you get to make a Kadena copy artifact. It doesn't stay a creature, so you could have 2 Kadenas basically because it's the artifact. It's not Kadena. Do we want to move on to the instance stuff?
I mean, that's a decent amount of rocks in dorks. Do we want to do rituals? Obviously, dark.
I would think so. I mean,
it doesn't make any sense not to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dark and Cabal for sure.
Well,
culling. We could always cull one of our morphs.
Culling is all of your morphs. Third 0.
No, culling the weak.
Oh, sacking, yes. Calling the weak.
Yeah.
I was
Culling the
thinking
weak.
calling ritual because we were saying
I don't think
rituals.
I don't think
Calling
ritual
ritual is not a good one here.
not a good one for this. Not a good one for this. I love that card.
Yeah.
But
Calling the weak is you can, if you have a manifested land, get it out of here.
yeah.
No, I mean, of course we're playing blue, we're playing black. We're gonna want to get our tutor and counter packages in here.
So we got demonic, diabolic intent, vampiric. Do we want imperial seal? Of course we do, right?
Mm-hmm. Got
How
to.
do we feel about beseech? Too much mana? Yep, I thought
think
so.
so.
We want a wish claw. We know we need that.
Oh, we gotta have Wish Claw.
It gets around. It gets around shit. We have imperial. So that's 5 black tutors right there.
Then we got worldly and mystic if we want to.
I don't know if we really want mystic other than to get a worldly. So like, what's the point of running a mystic? But we could run finale, of course.
I think finale into the slime.
Finale's funny.
The
Finale
two
is a
mana
good
slime.
one. Yeah.
Finale,
I think it'd be.
fine.
Yeah, I think that would be fucking hilarious. I mean, sink 10 into it. It doesn't matter. Go get your slime, put it out there. Now everything is +X +X. Continue with your turn. Start making slimes.
Slime. Slime.
I think it's funny.
Slime City, especially after we say Eudora and you have a bunch of mana to do whatever we want with.
Do we want to add a bunch of the counterspell protection
Do we want?
stuff?
We're getting. Hold on. Yep. Do we want to do quarter calling?
I don't think so.
Don't
we
be
got
green.
black tutors, we got
We want to run Invasion of Ikoria.
If we're running the
If we're running
finale,
I
then
think
yes.
Taken. But I don't know if we want that many tutors since we already.
We
have
want Defense of the Heart.
I don't think we're gonna hit Defense of the Heart. There's not a whole lot of times where one opponent in C has 3 or more creatures.
Or,
There are times, but it's not going to be every single time.
I think we want to just rely on ourselves and not rely.
so we
on
got Worldly and Finale.
In the battle of Ikoria.
We are gonna definitely add the
Yeah,
Invasion.
if you run the finale, then you want to run the battle.
And
Double it up.
I'm a big fan of Neoform, so you can't argue with me on that one. You know what though? The problem is it puts it on the battlefield. So maybe it's not the best here.
Yeah, it might not be the best here because not only are our mana values that you're looking in the top right corner not quite. what you
Oh,
think they
that's
are.
true.
So the other thing is it doesn't put them down morphed, and we want things to be morphed up.
So no, yeah. Not
So you
Neoform.
can tell me otherwise.
No, Noble, bad.
I told myself otherwise. I was like, hey, that's much like the rest of my life. I talked myself out of it.
Wait a minute, something ain't right here.
All right.
Now, I mean, we're also playing fish and study, right? We're in blue.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, back to negation.
Force, negation,
Force,
will,
force of will,
guardianship.
force of negation, mind break.
Mental misstep.
Do we run a misstep here?
You always
know.
run misstep because there's going to be the 1 mana counterspell to something you're doing.
Offer.
I think we play offer, yeah.
Yeah.
Will we also be playing Swan Song, maybe?
Swan and Fluster.
Swan gets rid of somebody else's Ristic. It's
They do
helpful.
that.
Storm, Deadly Relic,
Yeah, we play
Fierce Guardianship.
Now,
Reality shift.
Do we like Force of Vigor? We have enough removal on creatures.
Yeah, we have enough removal on creatures. We don't want to exile any of ours.
Endurance might be a good shout, but
I fucking love Endurance. I love Endurance.
Endurance, yes.
It kills every Thassa's Oracle and Breach line.
Do we want to add in things like Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay?
I was just about to bring that up. I think Assassin's Trophy is great because it's target permanent. You know, I mean that's
Abrupt Decay can't be countered.
Yeah, Abrupt Decay can't be countered. Takes out a lot of the different lock pieces.
It's 3 or less, so it does. It's pretty much meant to handle. It also kills Ristics. So.
Any stacks piece that, for the most part, stops you from going on. Most of them are 3 or less. Also,
I do like Assassin's Trophy as well, but I'm not high on things that give people resources like lands.
there's a bunch of decks, just like the other game we played with Mothman. You don't run basics, and some of the decks, like mine, run 1 of each. So there's a good chance you will already have the basics out. So it's just a free removal.
Now, are we playing Mana Drain? It's worth potentially considering.
I'm gonna argue it off for you right now. 2 blue pips is a fucking lot different than 1 in this deck.
It is. If you're not making multiple pips off of like your mana dorks and stuff like that, then I don't think it's
Mana drain
considered...
is now you got to keep 2 open, when you should be advancing your game plan as well. So I'm not hot on mana drain here.
Not here. We're a very pip intensive.
Yeah, if we were a control deck or something, then I get it, but I'm not hot on mana drain here, and that's why I think we classically just dodged every single 2-cost spell that isn't free.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love mana drain. I've won off the back of mana drain so many times I can't even count. But
see, the thing with mana drain is if you counter something big and it's even 5 mana, that's a free morph plus part of another one, though.
So let's be honest. We have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, like 14 ways to mess with 15 ways to mess with 16 ways to mess with people's 16 ways to kill people's counters. We have, including morphs and counter spells, we have more than enough. We have more. You are a controlling deck.
Most of the morphs do that.
It's almost a 10th of the deck.
Oh, a little more than that if you want to.
No, yeah, 12. No, almost. I'm sorry. It's almost.
I feel like you're making. Yeah, I was like, I think you're making the size smaller. Yeah. Like,
I play Magic. Obviously, I can't count or read.
Hey, ain't that the truth?
The 2 things that you need to do.
I cannot read.
So again, there's a lot of sources of counter spells there. I think
So-
that we're good on that. I think that's probably. We probably could do without all of these ones, or a couple of them. But what would you cut from that? Well,
Pact is one that it may be free, but there's been plenty of times where I don't have 5 mana and I really want to pack somebody's thing. So
Pact is for when you go to win.
Not always.
That's like your protection.
I mean, if I only have a pact in hand,
that's your
I'm
protection
sad.
for your win line.
If it's
you're last on the stack.
If it's turn 2 and you weren't able to get to 5 mana and somebody else is trying to win and all you have is a pact,
I also
it's
don't
sad.
want to see that open. All right, we've got a handful of rituals, interaction on our creatures. We're at 75. I mean, where do we go from here?
Bring other things like cyclonic or anything here, or
Absolutely.
Cyclonic's a must.
You know, maybe
Do we run snap chain? What do we think?
Yeah, snap and chain, they're good to stop other effects or other problem permanents.
Snap could even get you save your guys and give you mana back.
Yeah.
Well, do we cut one of the bouncers and because I know we're gonna have to run Otawara. So do we cut one of the bouncers and just run an Otawara as a hey, if we need it, we got it.
In lands in Otawara, sure. Well, we're at 80 cards now.
Yeah, we're at the point where it's cuts.
Cutting and things. Did you fit in?
Are we missing? Say again.
Did you fit in Leyline? Because that flash game plan is just so good for Kadena.
I mean, yeah, we can put that in.
The flash plan is very.
I'm not a
helpful.
fan of it personally, but I got
Kadena doing the free morphs a turn flash.
Every turn.
You at some point want flash.
Teferi does creature Teferi does the same thing too, right?
It does, but it's 5 mana and triple blue.
Triple blue, that's true.
Yeah, so the Leyline of Anticipation and Vivian work. Do we want to move on to putting in your lands and then start cuts? Because we're going to be putting in 27, 28 lands.
Are we also ignoring things like Oppo, or are we just kind of...
I think I added Oppo or Dorothy. We definitely probably want Dorothy. I added something here.
I think we want one or both.
Yeah.
We do want some of the staple creatures like Dorothy and Opposition Agent for sure.
Is there Bowmasters in there?
Yeah, we don't have any negative things, so Bowmasters as well. Dorothy, Oppo, and Bowmaster.
I mean, if we're playing black, we might as well be...
using 2 of the best black creatures right now.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on Talion?
What the fuck is coming up there? I do like Talion for card draw, and that's
We have a lot of card draw. So I was thinking it pains your opponents is what I was thinking. You don't think that's good enough?
I use Talion for like in Frank and Crom where I needed to find a place to get a card.
We won't have issues with card draw, I believe.
I don't think so either. So I do like Talion for that, but I think that you need to be able to you need him for all the reasons that he exists, not just one,
Yeah.
Because otherwise you can find that purpose on something else. Cheaper probably.
Is Heroic Intervention a card that we just don't care about here, or?
There's not a lot of
not really
below like RAS in the higher power games. There are some.
We didn't even add to lose, so let's definitely do that. Let's do the lands and then go through this.
Ancient Tomb, Bayou,
The original
Besage
Bulls, baby.
You. I'm going in order.
Yeah, please do.
Breeding Pool, City of Brass, Command Tower,
I really gotta get these.
Exotic Orchard, Gaia's Cradle. Yeah, if you're storming off, throwing all kinds of morphs out, that's a lot of mana.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of mana. 2 lands that I'd want to mention that would work with this plan specifically and can kind of some cheeky ramp.
We haven't made it.
Cavern.
Yeah,
it's a free morph that lets you draw a card and then kind of ramp with Kadena. And then the new one coming out, Branch of Vintu Ghazi.
Yeah, no, because it doesn't even do anything.
I mean, if you're worried about,
like, if you want to cast a creature, if you want to cast a creature to draw a card,
it could be worth it as a creature. It's not
better as a creature than a land.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna cut that because we got better lands. We don't got spot. We don't got space for that.
Continue with lands. On Gemstone. Yeah. Mana Confluence. Misty. Morphic Pool. Otawara.
Power Ranger lands.
Yeah.
Otawara.
Overgrown
No,
Tomb.
we're from the Sham, but it's Otawara.
I'm from the Midwest. It's Otawara. Rejuvenating Springs. Tropical Island. Underground River. And then Underground Sea. Verdant Catacombs. Waterlogged Grove. Now watery grave.
Do we like Urborg here?
Urborg is going to help your opponents a lot of times. Winding Canyons and the Simic Flashlands. Alchemist Refuge and Winding Canyons. They both let you play creatures, or Winding Canyons lets you play creatures at flash speed, and Alchemist Refuge lets you play everything at flash speed.
Then Emergent Zone as well then?
3 lands to give you flash speed. I like that.
I don't know if we need that many.
I think basics are a must in our base, just because, I mean, like you said, Assassin's Trophy exists.
One of each basic. I wouldn't do the Vista because a lot of time there could be chances where you can't use the Vista.
Assassin's Trophy's a thing. Path to Exile's a thing.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting at 28 lands.
That's where we wanted to be. 27, 28.
28 with the amount of mana rocks, mana dorks, and card draw we have, I think that's fine.
Takanuma.
Do you still have all 3 of the flashlands in there? I think you can cut either Winding.
Emergent sacks, Winding, and Alchemist don't sack, so I would cut Emergence.
Yeah, I think you can get rid of Emergence here to play.
I will just say there is a great debate that Emergent Zone is better than Alchemist because it doesn't require a color.
Yes, but it sacks itself. That's the issue. Alchemist doesn't sack, and Winding Canyons is this cost 1 more colorless, but it also doesn't sack.
And then that lets you get the Takanuma.
For just recursion.
I mean, we already have Den Protector, but it doesn't hurt having another way of being able to do that kind of worked into the mana base.
Yeah, why not? It's good to have a second line.
The way I look at Beseiju, the way I look at Otawara and Takanuma, they're spells.
They are spells.
They're
lands.
But
they're
if
lands when you need them. Lands when you need them. Spells mainly.
They're lands in your opening hand for sure.
Oh,
almost for sure in your opening hand they're lands. But every other time, their ability that's an ability and can't be countered. It gets around counter spells.
Just like the rest of our deck for the most part.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's true.
I think we're sitting pretty well here. 113, that's not even that bad. Let's make some cuts.
Apple, it's a pleasure working with you, sir.
Of course. Well, I mean, I'll be hanging around. Hopefully, you Cauldron Boys will bring me on here and there.
Yeah, you're very knowledgeable. I really did appreciate having you. Good luck, brother. Good luck. Go give him hell. Give him hell for me. I sat out, so give him hell.
I'm gonna hit him with 1s and 2s, you know.
Hit him with the 1s and 2s. I can't wait to see the game. All right, so what happened there was our boy Mike's got a league game. It's over on Ironborn Gaming on our Discord. We have a free CDH league. Go check it out. CDH Tournament Eternal. Insert promo clip. So that left us back here. We are just wrapping this up. It's still me, Appa, and Greg. We had built this Kadena deck up to 113 cards. And now we're gonna make some cuts. 3 cards you just mentioned. Collector Oof. Probably will shut down our lines. I don't think that's the best.
Yeah, we don't want that then.
Narset, Departer, right?
Departer of Veils, yeah.
Yeah, that might be gas here. There's also Noxious Revival and Veil of Summer. That we
Veil is amazing. Noxious is great. We have Den Protector. I love Noxious.
What if our Den Protector dies? It gives us Den Protector back.
Yeah, it does. And with all the card draw we have, it's probably going to be back into our hand instead of on top.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with 16 cards we got to cut.
Unfortunately, but yes.
Yeah.
That's not terrible. Let's start with a Mana Dork, right?
Yeah, I went through, and the main cuts that I would like to make are the ones that an opponent's Bowmasters are going to have problems with. Is Mana Dorks. Birds, Fenhorn, and Llanowar. And Bloom Tender.
I will swear to the day I die on birds. I don't even care.
I think I want to keep birds too. Just the fact that it can tap for any color is.
If you get 2 mana out of it, it's fast mana. It's not fast, but it pays for itself. Fuck.
Now I am on board with the general idea that I don't want to be weak to, ping effects. Also, playing a lot of modern Bowmasters and modern is just so brutal if you can't.
Well, the problem with Kadena is it's going to turn on Bowmasters, so.
That's why I was suggesting those ones.
Mana Dork easy targets.
So Silencer we don't have to worry much about because we want her for the morph afterwards. The one, so what?
It's also Mega Morph, so it's going to get 2 toughness on the back.
Yeah, the Pit Mage, not worried about
Pit
it.
Mage might be a little too cute for what we're doing, maybe.
Seems like an extra counter that I'm sure we can get rid of one of these counter creatures.
Bloom Tender as well might be a little bit iffy, having the 1 toughness. If we have enough other ways to accrue mana, it might not be as necessary.
It's the 1 toughness factor we're turning on somebody else's Bowmaster. I can die so easy. Bowmaster is a problem. It's in the meta. We have to deal with it and live with it.
It sucks, but it's part of what we got to deal with. And...
Void Mage Apprentice. It's a morph counter, but
it's expensive.
It's expensive.
To flip it, it is 4 mana, and it is a 1 toughness creature. That's not the problem, but it's an expensive counter where we have a counter package that is
pretty solid,
solid and useful.
So then what about Void Mage Prodigy? Because then it's not just 1 morph, but if you have to sacrifice that same Prodigy, it's another 2.
Yeah, it's...
Sacrifice being part of the cost isn't a problem, but it's the total of 3 mana to flip it and then pay the 2 to sack.
Those were some solid cuts. That puts us at, let's look, 30 creatures still.
Now, one thing I do want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on is we do still want a decent number of morphs in general to both play off Kadena and be able to do our loop with Eudora.
Yes.
So we want to make sure we don't cut too many morphs. We want to still keep a decent number.
As far as morphs go, that was the last morphs that I think we should cut.
I'm looking at 13 morph creatures.
For me, 13 sounds like a good amount. What do you think about that, Appa? This is your morph deck.
I know the numbers kind of change because of tutors, because of card velocity and things like that. And see, typically the numbers that you're looking at, you want around 20 of those effects. But with Worldly Tutor, Demonic Tutor, Diabolic, and all these other effects, I think it's okay. Especially since one of our main lines is going to be the Eudora loop. I think it'll be fine.
We definitely off of Mnemonic Betrayal and Yogg's Will.
I don't think we need Yogg's. Mnemonic might be an okay idea.
It's a win con. Meme is a win con for sure.
It is a win con because you can kind of steal what your opponents are doing. But I think
most of the time it's going to give us access to counter spells.
Yeah. I think our lines that we have are strong enough that we can just kind of lean on that. And
so we're fine at 5 sorceries? I don't think any of those are really worth cutting.
No, the sorceries are good for the ones that we have. If anything, a tutor at sorcery speeds, the Diabolic Intent and Imperial Seal.
Yeah, if anything, those would be the ones I'd be looking at getting rid of, just because they're a little less on plan.
They sacrifice a creature. There may be a time to where all we have out is our key creatures. Which,
we got 30 creatures. This is the right deck to do it in.
So leave Intent and cut Imperial.
I think we'd leave both, to be honest.
Okay.
Seal's going to let them do a card and then cast a Morph and get the...
I would say leave those for now, and then if we have cuts later, we can double back and look at...
Moving down to instants. Okay, we got Abrupt, Offer, Cabal, Chain, Call in the Weak, Psych Rift, Dark Ritual, Rollick, Guardianship, Flusterstorm, Force of Negation, Force of Will, Mental Misstep, Mind Break, Noxious, Snap, Swan Song, Vampiric Tutor, Veil of Summer, and Worldly Tutor. What's cuttable in there?
I don't know if anything there.
I don't think so either. The only one that even I have a slight hint at would be Snap, but it's also helpful to protect your own things if need be, or to get rid of a problem.
Because not only is it a way for us to be able to save a key Morph or save a key effect, it also, with our deck, it also says draw a card or draw 2 cards on it.
You could bounce a creature back, untap the mana, recast a creature face down for free, draw a card.
Yeah.
So you are talking like turn 2 advantage there.
It could be really good in this deck. It's also just like another way of being able to save things. Also, additionally, it's a way to pick back up a Morph that we might want to reuse. You know, we can reset one of the cheap, efficient counter Morphs. We can reset a Den Protector to pick something else back up. It's something that lets us set up a line in the next turn.
We gotta find cuts somewhere.
Aetherflux.
Part of our line is going through a lot of casting spells.
Signet,
Aetherflux must stay.
Chromox, gotta stay. Chisel, Effigy. Are we on Effigy and Devoted Druid? Those are 2 cuts, I feel like. Without the mana, you can make all the mana in the world you want, but if you have nothing to do with it...
Well, we have a lot that we can do with it. That wouldn't be the problem.
Sure.
Now, our main game plan is the Eudora line. How does Druid or Effigy help us there?
If we have our only sack outlet being Viscerous Seer, that's Scry. Sure, we'll get a forest, but that gives us blue and green of an arbitrarily large amount that we can have. That lets us cast the colorless creatures as we draw them, or it lets us just have the mana to play the other spells to protect our stuff, because our protection spells for the most part are blue and green.
So you're arguing to keep Druid and Effigy?
I am, yes.
I don't hate the idea of it.
I mean, Druid just makes green.
But with Effigy, it makes
blue and green.
Blue.
No, if Effigy, whenever it comes in, it copies the creature and it's still the artifact. So it has Devoted Druid text, but it keeps the tap of blue. So you get to tap for a blue or a green, put a negative counter on this artifact, and then untap the artifact, tap for blue or green, and repeat. And you can put it...
Because it's not a creature, it wouldn't die with the -1/-1 counters on it.
Correct.
That's not terrible. So for Thrasios, it's probably way better, but...
It's better in Thrasios or Finnan, but I think we can still utilize it really well here, even with some of the effects that we have, like Scenario, where we have Secret Plans and Mischievous Quanrar. We can continuously reflip and accrue card draw in a backdoor way that way. Like, there's a lot of lines that opens up for this as well.
Alright, you sold me on it. Moving down.
And most of our impactful Morphs flip up for blue or green mana, so being able to have a copious amount of that is never going to be a bad thing.
If we were to cut 1 enchantment, Gift of Doom.
I still really like it.
Over these guys? Over, like, Mastery?
Mastery is the weakest of what we have here, I think. It does add NOS to the engine, like I had mentioned earlier, but I'm not sure if it's worth a slot when we're focusing in.
I agree to a point. The main thing I like about Gift of Doom is you can play it for free and flip it for pretty much free, whereas Ugin's Mastery is free still 4 mana.
And you're going to want that for Kadena.
You're going to want free.
You need that for Kadena for sure.
I think this card, Gift of Doom, was one of the sleeper best cards out of the pre-con that it came in.
Just for that reason, huh?
It's so good.
We'll definitely leave Gift of Doom.
It's one of the cards that people just do not give enough credit to.
So there we go. We have our Flash Enabler, Mystic, Ristic, and 3 face-down Synergizers.
Yeah.
They gotta stay. Going through artifacts.
I think the only thing here that we might maybe be able to cut would
Chisel.
be... I don't even know if you'd want to cut Chisel. It's part of just making everything run smoother. If we're already going to have the mana, sure. Panoptic is a secondary Kadena effect for us. It also helps just kind of turbo out what our game plan is. Being able to double all of our face-up triggers is just way too good to pass up on, in my opinion.
I really like the doubling of the morph effects, because there's some key morphs that doubling them is definitely going to be turn breaking.
Like flipping a counter spell on top of another counter spell is like you can make 2 counters for a spell. Now they can't really counter you.
Well, think about a really big counter stack. They can't counter me now. Like they just...
You're like, yeah, I target your deflecting swat with the first counter, and I target your deflecting swat with the second counter. They gotta get through both of them. That means they need 2 more counters.
Or if you're flipping it up to counter something and somebody tries to deflecting swat the counter, whenever you flipped it, that puts 2 immediately. Like you flip it, counter the spell, and then they can't just deflecting swat one of them.
Another thing is too, this in play with Experiment 12 or the Temperature Ooze, that just turns our beatdown plan really strong, real. If you make Experiment 12 into a 12-12 for flipping up or whatever it would be, I think it actually double up to a 16-16 actually the way it would work, or making multiple giant trampling oozes. Such a good plan B, I think that it's just worth keeping.
What about Noxious Revival? We have the Den Protector.
We already have Akanuma, we already have Den Protector. We might be able to just not need Noxious at that point.
It is free for a 2.
It's free.
It's free, but we have to find cuts somewhere.
Yeah.
It just returning a combo piece versus... And I'm not arguing to not cut it. We have 10 more to go.
On that same vein, since we're playing all of our creatures for colorless mana anyway... how much do we need Vizier the Menagerie when we're already going to be looping?
Well, it's for that you can play them right off the top.
I mean, are we just doing that for redundancy next to Forge, or?
It's essentially another Forge, yeah. I like that. I like that ability. I mean, it's 4. You're right. It is a kind of a little maybe. I say redundant. There's only 2 versions of it, and it'd do well if we got either one.
I feel like we do want one of those effects as well.
Forge is probably better.
It is, because you can kind of get rid of a card that's junk and go on from there, but Forge also lets us play our artifacts.
Forge lets us play artifacts, where this Vizier lets us just play any creature.
I mean, we have to make cuts, so we
have to make it is what it is. Seaboard Muse.
It lets us have the mana to untap during our opponent's turn, so we can play our morphs and then have the mana to flip our morphs during their turns.
It's just such a strong card in
instead of holding up all your mana during your turn, so you don't get to play your stuff. You have to pay to flip your morphs. It lets you play and flip.
That argument you made earlier about being like holding up mana to interact versus developing your board, this lets you do both.
That's a fantastic point.
It breaks what we're doing, but not only that, it also lets you develop and interact in the same kind of vein.
Pitiless Plunderer. We have a lot of creatures.
We do have a lot of creatures, but here's
the question: is it just a win more card?
I think we need to think about the scenarios of when we're looping through the Eudora line, are we ending up in a place where we're gonna have all the colors that we need to cast the spells we want to cast, and that's where we're figuring out if we need this guy or not.
Best case, we have a 3-card combo in Eudora, Altar,
and any morph.
And any morph. But those morphs need to be kind of 1 green and
or 2 colorless,
or 2 colorless. So anything outside of green morph-wise, probably not going to work unless we have Plunderer.
Looking at our percentages of color-based stuff, 33% of all of our symbols are green. So it's in the middle.
Is that taking into account the morph cost for what you're looking at there, Greg?
I don't have a clue if it factors in morph cost. It's just...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just mana cost.
Sometimes the breakdowns are a little weird on how they do it.
We have more of a percentage of green over black and colorless pips.
That's where we're at right now.
Not a bad split considering what we're doing.
And it's pretty well rounded for what our percentage is: 54, 46, they're 28. It's like 4, then 4, then 4. We're pretty good. We're pretty well rounded on mana.
Since we have a Bowmasters, do we really want the Narset?
Probably not at that rate. The fact Narset's 3 mana, it's probably not necessary to have Hole. We're also playing some of the green effects that let us go search up a Bowmaster if we absolutely needed it.
7, there we go. We're getting there. We're making headway.
I love Endurance. Is it
holding us back here?
I think so, because a lot of our green cards we don't want to exile.
We're controlling a different way.
Yeah.
Counterspell and shit, yeah. You're right.
Well, we also have Grave Hate, and Dothy and Deathrite, so I don't know if we absolutely need Endurance on top of that.
There are 2 versions that could save it there. That's true.
Yeah.
You know, Dothy's and Deathrite are pulling double duty there. I think we can pick the drawn. I think it's just
yeah. It's the same reason Seedborn's good. We were saying that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
You think Calling the Week maybe?
Yeah, that Calling the Week.
It's a fair cut, right?
Get rid of Calling.
Because again, there will be times where we potentially may not want to sacrifice a creature because we may only have out our key creature pieces.
Yeah. You could always try 27 lands, or there is.
I like 27 lands with the amount of rocks we have, the amount of cost reductions, the amount of card draw we have, rituals as well. There's a very good chance that we won't have to worry about our land count.
That's the problem. I'm looking at them right now, and I'm not sure what would be a good cut if we did.
Basic, probably, that we have.
What is our distribution on colors on our lands first? That's what's important.
Alright, so 54 blue, 50 green, and 46 black. Okay, so maybe actually probably closer to the snow-covered. Let's check it out. See what it puts us at.
Another thing of note.
So there's 26 blue, 22 black, and 24 green. So I would cut a blue. That's just lands. Our land, 26% of the symbols on lands are blue. 22
I'm not cutting
are black.
a snow-covered island. I've never heard anybody in my life ever
I don't like that either.
Cut an island. No, you just don't do that. Some things are unheard of, sir. I just don't tolerate it.
Some things you just don't do.
Cut an island?
And cut snow-covered forest.
Because our loop includes green, cut the forest.
Yeah.
Right. I was thinking the same thing. Brilliant. That's brilliant. All right. 27. We have 4 cuts. 4 big boy cuts.
This is where it's going to get in the nitty gritty. We're going to have disagreements on everybody. Each of us have what we think should be cut, but we also have solid arguments for why it needs to stay.
I think Invasion is better than Finale if we had to choose between one of those two.
Whoa, dog. Hold on, Finale gets
both of them are very good. Either you can get the creature side of the Invasion, meaning it doesn't matter if they block, you're doing the damage, but you also get the massive buff, trample, and haste from the Finale. No, you don't.
We've already been cutting other things that are requiring us to sack creatures, so is it worth considering cutting Diabolic at that rate?
I mean, we have the creatures to use, although Diabolic Intent is at sorcery speed.
It's at sorcery speed.
I hate that there's only 4 sorceries here. That seems like... But we're also trying to cast creatures.
We're a creature-based deck. We're not a...
We're an interactive creature deck. That's the cool thing about Morph is we do things with your creatures too. So most of our creatures are also doing something.
Oh boy, if they made a flip creature tutor, that'd be good.
Yeah.
What about Worldly? We have enough card draw and the actual good black tutors. Do we really need a creature-only tutor?
Gets you anything. It gets you Eudora.
It only gets creatures.
It gets you
if you already have Eudora.
I don't think cutting any tutors is a good idea, in my opinion, because now we're down to Wishclaw, Worldly, Vamp.
Okay. Then what do we think since we cut down on lands?
Not even
Diamond?
A lot of tutors.
There's a chance to where you may not have it in hand.
It could be a dead draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a low-case scenario.
I've had it in my opening hand plenty of times to where I've had none.
I've been stuck on Diamond a couple times, too. I think I remember I've casted in Krark just to get the storm count up.
I've had to do that, too. To raise storm count, cast the Diamond, doesn't matter what it does.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it might be okay to cut here.
On your 8th spell of a Aether Flux.
For an Aether Flux one, then it would be good, but it's most of the time just going to be a dead card pretty much.
So how is Aetherflux doing it for us, Eudora?
The Eudora loop, which is our primary win con that we're aiming
well, no, because
for.
you're not casting.
No, but you're making mana, and you're able to pick back up things with Den Protector, and be able to recast whatever.
Yeah, you're recasting them. Once you get it out of the graveyard, it goes to your hand.
Yeah,
then you
recasting any
recast
other,
the morph.
We're recasting any other morph creature.
Yeah.
That's our win with Eudora.
What about
Down to 2.
Chain of Vapor? I know it can help us.
It can also hurt us, right? Because we're a permanent based deck.
Well, you can bounce your lands, return your rocks, recast them, go pro, return one of your morph creatures and recast it face down. Yeah, I guess it's probably not one of the better for the fact that we have Otawara and Psych Rift, and do we have Snap? We kept Snap.
We kept Snap.
Yeah, I think I like Chain and all the fast decks, but this isn't a fast deck. I mean, this is
we're a step slower on purpose.
We're like this is like a battle crew. I think you're right. Chain's a solid one, even though it's 1.
Yeah, even though it's 1 mana, it can be
free.
It can be detrimental to us as well.
All right, it's 1 cut. Where do we make a cut? Here.
We're drawing enough cards, and we have some other sack outlets.
My problem with Seer here, we don't have enough.
It also dies to Bowmaster.
It also dies to Bowmaster, and it doesn't make mana off of our loop with Eudora.
It just lets us filter through.
We don't have a lot of recursion. At best, it either dies to Bowmaster or we send chump blockers over there or something.
Yeah, I'm cool with cutting the Seer.
It probably doesn't fit as well as the rest. Oh, that's a sexy 100. Let's go down and check out the stats. Here we go. Just fit to 100. That feels good. It's a good looking list.
It is a very good looking list. It's very tight and looks like it can be quite fun.
Like it can do things.
1-8.
That's not terrible.
No, that's pretty decent. Especially
that's not terrible.
The other thing that number isn't probably taking into account either is the fact that we are going to be playing our morphs for free, and our activated costs for using them is actually cheaper than their CMC. So this is an inflated number as well.
Right.
So our curve's actually technically a little bit lower than that.
And I'm with that. Yeah.
But even then, 1.81 is still pretty solid.
I mean, it's right out of Naw's range, but you know what? It's good.
We're not playing Nas anyway. Now I gotta create a list of what I need to go buy.
The list is up. I'm gonna play test it through in a high-powered game.
Same.
And